On the previous discussion, we talked about globalization and multicultural literacies. Now, in ULOB or Unit 2, let's discuss about the different aspects of social literacy, namely effective communication, intercultural communication, and ProSocial Communication. I now give the virtual floor to our reporters. A pleasant day to everyone. My name is Justin Bangis, the next reporter. I would be discussing ProSocial Communication. Now, what is ProSocial Communication? ProSocial Communication is a communication, take note, that benefits a person, group, society, or the entire species one way or another. From this description, we can infer that pro-social communication promotes the well-being of the person or a person. Going back, the communication could be vocal, non-verbal, or a combination of both. The definition of pro-social communication, as one might assume, varies across culture, religion, politics, and other social concerns. As a result, while supporting LGBT rights or women's rights may be deemed pro-social in some cultures, it may not be in others. The Veto 2016 deemed the following as principles of interpersonal communication which may lead to pro-social communication. Communicating with cultural sensitivity. People benefit in their view when their cultural beliefs are understood and respected. Examples are people who seamlessly interact with others from different cultures by following the norms of that culture. They feel that they can respect their own values while adapting to the values of other cultures they interact with. They effectively use empathy. Listening empathically. When you listen empathically, you're performing a pro-social communication act by providing a supportive and understanding ear. Example would be the activity given to us previously, wherein a friend calls us and tells us about the awful day she had. The fact that we were listening with undivided attention makes it an example of listening empathically, responding appropriately to the emotional expressions of others. When you offer comfort and support to the grief-stricken, you're performing a pro-social communication act. Another example is when someone is angry. You try not to get angry yourself. You stay calm, speak slowly, and use non-threatening body language. For a calm and rational response can go a long way toward calming angry people down. Confirming. Communications that acknowledge the importance and contributions of another are likely to have a beneficial effect, while disconfirming messages are likely to yield no such benefits and perhaps a variety of negative responses. An example situation would be when a leader acknowledges the group's efforts despite an unsatisfactory performance. This would raise their morale and motivate them to perform better next time. Advising. When you offer advice, assuming it is asked for, you're performing a pro-social communication act by sharing what you know or think with another person in an effort to comfort or reassure them. An example situation would be when your friend asks a relationship advice when they are experiencing some love-related problems, or when you offer financial advice to a friend in need of it. Complimenting. When you compliment someone for a job well done or for looking good, you're performing a pro-social communication act by helping the other person to feel more positively. Another example situation would be when you compliment someone for being a good buddy or when you like their cooking. Mentoring or sharing. When you mentor someone, you're performing a pro-social communication act by sharing with them your expertise and experience, making them more efficient workers or better speakers. For example, teaching in all its forms would be included here. Other examples are when you teach someone how to ride a bike, how to fish, learn a new skill, and the likes. Communicating politely. When you respect a person's need for both positive and negative phase, you're engaging in pro-social communication. Examples are when you don't interrupt someone speaking, you accept others' corrections graciously, saying please and thank you, and the like. Argue fairly and constructively. When you engage in conflict fairly and constructively, you show respect and confirm the other person. So, when you're argumentative rather than aggressive, you're engaging in pro-social communication. Examples are when you respect each other's turn of talking, even if you don't like what you're hearing, keeping the discussion to one single conflict at a time, asking questions to clarify confusions and the likes. Responding to the dark side of interpersonal communication. What are the dark side of interpersonal communication? These actions are considered to be part of the dark side of interpersonal communication. Verbal aggression, deception, psychological abuse, bullying, and infidelity. When you confront bullying or sexual harassment constructively and safely, you're performing a pro-social communication function. And now, let's recall. Pro-social communication promotes the well-being of other people. The definition of pro-social communication varies across cultures, religion, politics, and other social concerns. The 10 interpersonal communication principles which may lead to pro-social communication are communicating with cultural sensitivity, listening empathically, responding appropriately to emotional expression of others, confirming, advising, complimenting, mentoring or sharing, communicating politely, arguing fairly and constructively, and responding to the dark side of interpersonal communication. I hope you understand about our discussion pro-social communication. And now I will be giving the virtual floor, to the next reporters.
Hello everyone, I am Cyril Jane Ayuban and I will be discussing the intercultural communication. What is intercultural communication? Intercultural communication refers to the communication between people from two different cultures. Intercultural communication is a symbolic, interpretive, transactional, contextual process in which people from different cultures create shared meanings. That means that intercultural communication is a discipline that studies communication across different cultures and social groups, or how culture affects communication. Nations, races, religions, managers, workers, linguistics, philosophical beliefs, commerce, officers, genders, and many more. In intercultural communication, people of one culture try to know the information conveyed to them by other cultures. For example, in a hotel establishment, the hoteliers assess their customers' requirements, tastes, and provide services accordingly. The customers also inform the hoteliers of their needs. To share information and ideas among cultures, it is necessary to know one's own culture, cultures of other surrounding groups, the dominating group's culture, and cultures of gender, religion, or age group. And now let's proceed to the constituent elements of intercultural competence adopted from Deerdorf 2006. Knowledge, cultural self awareness, culture specific knowledge, social linguistic awareness, grasp of global issues and trends. Now, for the knowledge, it is an understanding of intercultural communication comprises knowledge of verbal and nonverbal strategies to effectively interact with individuals from other cultures, connections between language and identity, and the social, cognitive, and emotional aspects of learning to communicate in multiple languages. Now, for the cultural self awareness. Cultural self awareness is an individual's metacognitive understanding of culture's influence on the self. These individuals would be aware of how culture has influenced different aspects of their self. such as their values and behaviors. Culture specific knowledge. It is a culture, generally referred to two complementary types of knowledge and skills that help people understand other cultures and function effectively in them. Culture specific approaches encourage deep understanding of one cultural context through detailed cultural knowledge. And now for the social linguistic awareness. It is defined as the study of how the people around you and your heritage can change the way you speak. An example of social linguistics is a study of Spanish and English being spoken together, called as Spanglish rather, Spanglish. And if you will talk Tagalog and English, Taglish. And now for the last one is the grasp of global issues and trends. We have the social analysis is the practice of systematically examining a social problem, issue or trend, often with the aim of prompting changes in the situation being analyzed. And a social problem is a situation that is viewed by some community members as being undesirable. And now for the skills, we have the listening, observing, evaluating, and perseverance, viewing the world rather from other perspectives. So for the skills, this is in key areas of knowledge for those wanting to improve their intercultural communication. So these are some of the knowledge of the cultures, organizations, and institutions, history, and general way of living of different communities and nations. It is an understanding of how culture can affect communication and language. So the listening, observing, evaluating, using patience and perseverance. The last one is viewing the world from others' perspective. And now I will give the virtual floor to the next reporter.
Hello everyone, I am Barbiel Alisa Iabayon and I will be continuing attitude as one of the constituent elements of intercultural competence. Before anything, I'm sure that we had a previous knowledge on global competence about how it embodies and how it is propelled by key dispositions, namely knowledge, skills, and attitude. Since knowledge and skills are already introduced, let's move on to the last key disposition, and that is attitude. Attitude refers to the mindset that an individual adopts towards a person, group, issue, and behavior. Moreover, being globally competent behavior requires an attitude of respect, openness, curiosity, and discovery. First, we have respect. In communicating respect to others, this begins through showing interest and by simply listening attentively, while realizing that respect itself manifests differently in various cultural contexts. Moreover, it consists of positive regard and esteem for someone or something based on the judgment that they have intrinsic worth. So, in this framework, respect assumes the dignity of all human beings and their inalienable right to choose their own affiliations, beliefs, opinions, or practices. So, in short, it values other cultures. Second, we have openness. Intercultural competence requires an attitude of openness towards people, withholding judgment from other cultural background. It involves sensitivity and implies willingness to risk and move beyond one's comfort. For example, when you tend to ask questions, it shows your interest in learning and it broadens your horizons about something, right? So, as this may require extra effort since having openness requires you to be flexible and to be focused on communicating. Third, we have curiosity. Just like openness, curiosity also implies willingness to risk and to move beyond one's comfort zone. It views differences as a learning opportunity and requires an active willingness to seek out and embrace those opportunities to engage with people from other cultural backgrounds. These learning opportunities can be to discover, to learn about their cultural perspectives and how they interpret familiar and unfamiliar phenomena, and to learn about linguistic and behavioral conventions. Lastly, discovery. This defines the tolerance for ambiguity. This refers to individuals' attitude of level of comfort in certain situations, whether communicating with someone of a different gender, race, and nationality. We are often wondering what we should or shouldn't do or say. But as situations of having uncertainty becomes clearer as they progress, however, the anxiety that an individual with low tolerance for ambiguity feels may lead them to leave the situation, or others communicate in a less competent manner. Moreover, individuals who are intrinsically motivated toward intercultural communication may have a higher tolerance for ambiguity, in that their curiosity leads them to engage with others who are different because they find gain knowledge is rewarding. Now that we see attitude is a constituent element of intercultural communication, we can see a chain reaction. In communicating respect to others, they are being valued by thinking comparatively without prejudice about cultural differences. Then we tend to be open towards people from other cultural backgrounds until we apply curiosity to set foundation for more creative ways to turn differences into opportunity. Finally, we tolerate ambiguity and view the opportunity as a positive experience. So, we have here pro-social communication and intercultural communication. First off, pro-social communication, it is the communication that benefits another person, a group, society, or the entire species in some way. Intercultural communication, it is the communication between cultures, with having more contact and to more people who are culturally different. The interaction of pro-social communication are vocal, nonverbal, or a combination of both. Intercultural communication, we have vocal and nonverbal. And lastly, in pro-social communication, it has the range of positive behaviors. And because of those range of positive behaviors, it would aid intercultural communication. It would allow for positive and productive interaction. And I think that is all. I hope you learned something from globalization and multicultural literacies and social literacy. If you have questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Thank you.